Hello, in the last video we have created our simple password generator that allows us to generate and copy the password that we have generated. In this video we're going to save these passwords in a database. To do that, let's first clean our project by creating some packages. Here, generators. I'm gonna put all these generators inside. And then a helper. I'm gonna put this one inside. I'm gonna close all these tabs, and let's create a password class where we are going to organize our object that we're going to save. Password, and here let's give it a private integer ID, and then private string. It's going to have the name of the password, the login, and the password itself. We can also add a date, update date. Let's import this one and create our constructor with these ones, these parameters. Okay, this dot update date equals new date. Okay, that looks good. Let's add a method to string. Okay, this is for the display later on. Now that we have this, we'll need to create our database helper that would create the database and then insert and read the values or the rows from the database. Let's do that. Package, or let's do class database helper. This class should extend SQLiteOpenHelper, which is a predefined class. Implement these two, and then we are going to create a constructor. Let's take this one, and here we're going to create some variables. Private static final string, db name, passwords, and private static final int, db version. It's going to be 1. So we don't need a factory. The version is the db version, and the database name is the db name. I'm going to remove all of these from the constructor, and for the onCreate we're going to create our table. So SQLite database dot execute SQL, and here we're going to create our table. Create table passwords, and here we're gonna have our ID, integer, primary key, and then we're gonna have name text, and password text, login text, and the update date is going to be a date. Alright, now that we have our created database, for the onUpgrade, SQLite database dot execute SQL, and here we're gonna drop table if exists passwords, and we're gonna call the onCreate with the same SQLite database. Okay, so now we should be having our database created. We're going to create a new method to insert into the database a new password. So public boolean insert, and here we're going to pass in a password. So to insert into a database, we need the SQLite database db, get the writable database, and then we need content values that we are going to insert. And for this, we're going to get them from the password get content values. This is a method that we're going to develop later on, and here we're going to return database.insert into the table passwords. The column null is null, and then the values. And here it will return the number of inserted elements. Let's just check if it's equals to 1. Okay, so let's create this method. So for the method content values equals the new content values, and we're going to be returning this. So for the values, we're going to put the name to the name, and values dot put the password to password, and values that put what's left. It's the login to login, and at the end we'll need a date that put. Let's get the exact name, which is update date here, and we're gonna get update date dot get time. Alright, so we have our content value here. It's going to be used to insert the new element, and that's good. Now let's get back to our interface, our UI, and let's add a new button here, call it save. To do that, I'm gonna take this out, linear layout, match parent, wrap content, and orientation. It's gonna be horizontal. Add the 2 buttons here, button copy and button save. And here for the width, it's going to have 0 dB, and the weight is going to be 1. Same for this one. Okay, we can add padding or margin horizontal to 5 dB for both of these. Have some space, and alright, now let's get this button save and set it up on the Java code. Let's add it here, btn save. Let's go to init views and let's get it set here. btn save equals to find view by id error.id dot button save, and we need the click listener, so set on click listener. I'm gonna have v. Alright, our view here, and here the first thing to do is to get the password that was generated. So string generated password equals to text password generator dot get text dot toString, and then once we have that, we're going to create our intent equals to new intent, and here we're going to pass on the main activity dot this and password save password point class. This is a class that we're going to generate. It's the interface that is going to allow the user to save the password, and then in this intent we're going to put some extras, so put extra pwd, which is the password, and we're going to pass on the generated password. This will allow us to pass this password as a parameter to the other UI. So let's do this, and then start activity intent. Alright, let's create our save password interface. Activity, empty activity, and save password. Right, now we have that. it looks good. Alright, and let's go back to our save activity. So here, let's set up our layout right here, and gonna give it for the top 0 here, and for the side I'm gonna give it 50. Alright, should match the size, and this should wrap the content. And inside here we're going to need an edit text, so let's go in here better. Edit text, match parent wrap content, and the hint would be password name. Let's close this. Let's give it an ID. Edit pwd name. Alright, let's go in here and give it edit pwd login password, and here is going to be the login for the hints, and again for the edit password value, and here is going to be the password. It might not be visible, so we could add some more text views. Match parent wrap content, and for the text it's going to be the same value, so password name, and I'm gonna copy that, paste it here, login, and here again password. Okay, we can add some padding, so padding or margin vertical, set it to 5 dp, or just margin bottom to 10 dp, set it for the edit texts. Okay, alright, and at the end let's add a little button match parent wrap content, and for the text it's going to be save, and margin top, set it to 40 dp, and we're gonna give it an ID, btn save. Alright, and now that we have this set up, let's go ahead and set all the IDs and set up all the views in the interface. So here, private edit text, we're gonna have the password or the edit pwd name, edit pwd value, and edit pwd login. Gonna import this, and let's set up our views. Init views, and for the init view here, let's set the edit password login equals to find view by id, id.edit password login. For the edit password value, let's get the value here, and for the edit password name, let's get the name here. Alright, now that we have those, private button btn save, let's get that, btn save. Alright, now that we have initialized our views, let's set click listeners for the btn save, set on click listener, and here we are going to save this password, and to do that we need the database helper db helper equals the new database helper, and for the context it's save password dot this, which is this context. And now we're gonna have the db helper dot insert the password, and this password that we're going to insert, we need to set it up. So password equals the new password, and here we're gonna get the edit password name dot get text dot toString, and then we'll need the second element, which is the login and then the password. So edit pwd dot login dot get text dot toString and edit pw value dot get text dot toString. Alright, now that we have our password, we're gonna pass it to the insert, and boolean saved equals to this, and if the password is saved, gonna throw a toast and say that the password is saved, and then we are going to disable the button. So btn save dot set enabled, it's going to be false. Alright, now the interface is going to save the password, but since the save button will only be saving the password that we have generated, we need to fill or pre-fill this password field. So let's go here, and for the edit pwd value dot set text, we need to set text here. It's going to contain the password or the generated password. This generated password is going to be retrieved from the intent, so string password generated equals to get intent, and then we can get the extra string extra, which is the pwd that we have set in our main activity right here. Alright, now that we have set up all this, let's go back to our main activity, and here whenever first we can set this button save of the main activity to disabled, so that the user cannot click it if they did not generate a password. And once they click on generate, which is here, button generate, that's it, on click listener, we can enable it back true. Alright, let's run this and see how it goes. So the save button is disabled, so it cannot be clicked. Let's generate a password. Once we have generated, it became enabled. You can click on it. Now the password field is pre-filled. Password name, and here we have the login. If we click save, the password is saved and the button is no more clickable. Let's check if the password was actually saved. Let's go back to the database generator. We have the insert method. Let's create a public list password get password list. Let's import this list of password list, and then here return password list password. Okay, equals a new array list. Here we are going to get the SQLite database db equals to get readable database. Now we're going to read from the database. db dot execute, or just raw query, and here select from passwords, select star from passwords, and here we're gonna pass on null. This would give us the cursor. We can import that, and we can move the cursor, move to first, and then we are going to loop through the value. So while not cursor dot is after last, password pwd equals to password dot from cursor. We're gonna pass on the cursor as a parameter, and then list dot add our password list dot add, and we're gonna add our password, and then we are going to move to next the cursor. We need to create this static method from cursor in our password class, and let's do this. So password equals to new password, return password. I'm gonna create a constructor with no parameter, and here for the password dot create id equals to cursor dot get column get string cursor dot get column index, and here we're going to get the id. Let's repeat that multiple times because we need the name, the password, and the login, as well as the date. Okay, so for the name it's the same, password it's the same, for the login it's the same, and for the update date it's this. Let's go back. Update date is this. This would give us the dates in milliseconds, so we'll need to get a date from it. So new date long dot parse long from this. So since this is a string, we'll convert it to a long and then create a date from that. Here get integer because it's the identifier, and we're good to go. We are going to return this password. This method is going to be called, since we don't have list view, let's just go to our main activity, and after click listeners, display password, display saved passwords. This is something that is just going to be set just to test if everything is good. It should be deleted afterwards. So database helper db equals a new database helper, and we're going to pass on the context, which is main activity.this, and db dot get passwords list. Here I'm gonna get a list, password list equals to this, and then we're gonna import these two classes, and then gonna use logger to display the pwd list password list dot toString. Alright, let's run this and see if we can actually see the password being saved. Alright, so password list, it already has the first one that we have created. Let's create another one and see if it's going to be displayed. Gonna do 20, generate. Alright, save. Password 2, login, website 1 or 2, save. Alright, let's go back here. Okay, so this is not actually saving. I just want to double check on the runner. It is being saved, but I just need to check the documentation for the SQLOpenHelper insert. Okay. Insert method. This method for inserting a row into the database. Okay, and returns the row ID. So there has been a mistake. I apologize. In the insert, it does not return one. It does not return the number of lines that were inserted, but it returns the row ID. And we should check if it's different than -1. Okay, let's run this again. Let's generate a new password. Let's keep it 8. Save password 3. Password website 3. Save. Okay, now let's go back and rerun the app to see. Alright, so you can see it here, password 3, password website, and the password. Also, we have the update date. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to display all these passwords in a list and try to update them or even delete them. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.